Starting your own practice is hard for many chiropractors. It's riddled with both struggles and successes. But here at the Chiropractic Philanthropist, we make it easy by having chiropreneurs and entrepreneurs share their struggles and lessons learned in life and business so that you don't have to make the same mistakes. And now here's your host, Dr. Ed Osborne.
How amazing would it be if you could practice because you want to, not because you have to? Learn how to improve your cash flow and increase your passive income now. Go to moneyripples.com or find their podcast, The Chris Miles Money Show, to learn more. All right, TCP listeners, we have an incredible guest today, and that is actually Dr. Michelle Campbell. Michelle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. How about you?
Awesome. Yeah. And, even in our pre-chat, I was saying, I follow you on social. I'm always so excited to see what you're up to. You're always you just seem so busy, but I feel like I kind of know you. We've never met, but I feel like I know you just from social media. It's so funny. So for docs who don't know who you are, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll jump into the conversation.
Sure. So I am Michelle. I'm a chiropractor in London, Ontario, Canada. I grew up from a small town in southwestern Ontario and decided that chiropractic was my calling and my mission. So I ended up going to chiropractic college at CMCC. And from there, I did locums for the first couple of years. So I traveled around Ontario, filled in for various docs, learned a lot about the business of practice, what I liked in practice, what I didn't like. I found that very valuable and decided to make London my home base. And started out with my practice here. I rented a small room. I doubled my practice every year there and decided that I would expand to a fuller, bigger space in about 3 years. Rented there, was there for about 5 years, continued to grow, added some other practitioners there, and then bought my building 4 years ago now. Yeah. And so I have been there for about 4 years. And now we have 3 chiropractors, a great admin team. There's some real estate options in there as well. And all while doing that, last year I decided I would pick up a bucket list item of mine, and that's pursuing my MBA. So I'm in my last term of my MBA at Ivy here at Western University. I've been doing some real estate rentals. I have a vacation rental property as well. And I have 5-year-old twins who are amazing. And I've been married for about 7 years. So that's as quick as I could condense it.
I love it though. I love what a journey, right? Going from an office, it sounds like it was just like a room.
Yeah.
Right. And just keep building and multiplying. What's the drive there?
Oh yeah. That's a deep question. I've always been this way. I've always been driven. I always I'm a competitive person by nature. Even as a kid playing sports, I was always very competitive and active. And I feel like one of my greatest joys in life is seeing growth. So whatever way that is, whether that's personal or professional or with relationships, just growth is a really, really key joy bringer to me. And that's not really great English, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, and it's perfect. It's a great hook too, is part of growth and expansion, and is, helping others. Right. And we're going to get into that conversation today too. So do you have some words of meaning, affirmation, a quote you'd like to drop on docs?
Yeah, and it's more of like a mantra. It's when we get overwhelmed and we have so much going on in our life, sometimes we just need to keep moving. So, just keep moving, one foot in front of the other, just keep going. That I've relied on numerous times in my life. And, we all have storms in our life, and it's about how we respond to the storms in our life. And you may have heard the story about cows and buffaloes and how they handle storms. And you can Google it if you want to understand the story a little bit more. But the gist that I take from it is buffalo run towards the storm to get through it faster, and they address it head on. And cows do the opposite. They run away from the storm. And when we run away from things, we made it harder on ourselves in the long run. So we want to think not short-term benefit, but long-term benefit. And we know this as chiropractors. We tell our patients this all the time. It's not a quick fix. It takes effort. It takes a long-term plan. And it's the same thing with business or struggles or anything else. There's no quick fixes that are long-term and sustainable. So just keep moving, one foot in front of the other through the storm. I've said that I can't even count how many times over the last few years.
I love that. And I saw someone, I can't, I always see these things online. I'm always online. Someone was talking about lag versus lead. So like so many people focus on lead, like what's ahead of them in the future. They don't really appreciate what they're actually accomplishing. So that one step forward, that they're actually making that momentum and moving forward actually in the present. Right. And that's why so many people quit. I think that's part of the drive, I would say.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like, I love that. Staying focused in the present is so key, but still looking forward while still staying present. It's like that fine balance.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And so, you share your journey, and I know it was a quick journey in the introduction here, but there must have been some times where there was some struggle here, right? I mean, it couldn't have all just fallen into place for you. So tell us a time when you struggled. More importantly, like what you learned from it and how it's maybe changed how you operate in your business or life today.
Yeah, when I was pondering this question, there's so many struggles. I feel like we could do a numerous hours of multiple hour podcasts on the struggles that I've gone through. But one I think is really important to share is that I had twins in 2017. There was a lot of health struggles that went through that. There's some personal and professional struggles that went through that. I was able to deliver the twins naturally, which is a huge goal, but I did end up with HELLP syndrome, which is a pregnancy complication that affects liver and blood, and led to 3 abdominal surgeries over the first 2 years of their life. And as a chiropractor, that's physically pretty darn challenging. And then add that my father died in 2018, and that add the huge struggle that we all had, which was COVID. And I didn't have the best coping mechanisms and had developed some bad health habits. So I'd put on, close to 50 pounds, and I wasn't in a mental, physical place that I wanted to be. And it was a big struggle to get back. Like, I'm happy to say I'm back to kind of my normal weight and my normal health again. But it wasn't easy. And it was a slow process, and it was taking advice from others and being humble enough to get support when you need it, but knowing that no matter where you are, like, someone can help you if you just ask for it. Yeah.
And I mean, do you find that with a lot of doctors, or maybe is this like we have a hard time asking for, like, because we're always in a place of service, we have a hard time asking for support?
Oh, 100%. And I know that I was definitely that way. And I still have to check myself when I am getting into that. Like, I can handle it. I can be super mom or super woman or whatever. But no human being is that. We are all still human. But the best way and the fastest way to get through struggles is to ask for help. So being able to hire, an online trainer and a nutritionist to just like remind me of what I already knew. Like, I don't think they actually told me anything brand new. And I mean, it's pretty simple if you think about it, but it's not simple. It's so hard. So yeah, I think that's one of the best ways to move forward faster.
Yeah, the simple but not easy, right? Yeah, I love it. And now that you are where you are, I mean, I know that you're finishing up your MBA, which I can't even imagine how much, time or effort that takes. But you really want to, you have this drive, you want to help other doctors. Tell us about that too.
So professionally, I have a strong desire to see female chiropractors and chiropractors in general abundantly financially successful. I think it's going to level up the whole profession. I have a strong desire to have leadership on our boards and in leadership positions to be equal with female and male, because the only way that we're going to continue to have strong female leaders is to have examples of strong female leaders. Being a mom to a daughter has brought that even stronger and more passionate for me to do. It's always been a goal. It's always been something I've been interested in doing, but I think it's just on the forefront now. And especially having gone through COVID and gone through some of that stress, if we have our business set up in a way where we have diversification and we have options and choices, we're such a stronger profession, quite frankly.
How would Seth Godin, Gary Vaynerchuk, and Tim Ferriss create a chiropractic practice? The answer is The Payday Practice, a new book by Dr. Jeff Langmaid and Dr. Jason Deitch. The Payday Practice is the perfect solution for any chiropractic practice looking to generate monthly recurring revenue. This book provides a step-by-step process that is easy to follow and guaranteed to get results. Get your free copy today at thepaydaypractice.com. Don't wait, this offer won't last forever. The Payday Practice, recurring practice revenue the easy way. Head over to thepaydaypractice.com for your free copy now. Sorry, I have a puppy now, if you hear like a little bit of barking, that's why. But I know listeners are pretty forgiving; they know that stuff happens. I think it's brilliant too. Like, do you find number one is like you want to specifically help more female chiropractors, more doctors. Do you find like the business, like, because you're going through it, getting your MBA, do you find like that's one of the deficits you see? Not maybe just with female chiropractors in general, but chiropractors in general, is they don't have a really good business acumen?
Well, I think it's that we are taught that we are scientists and we are clinicians and we are a healing profession and service and all of these things that are wonderful. And I love that. And I fell in love with the profession for that. But if we don't also think of it as a business, we're missing out on a huge way to impact the world. Because, I mean, we've all heard it. If you can't keep your lights on, you can't serve patients. Like they have to work together. So I think that being okay with being a strong business person and being a strong clinician, and they're not mutually exclusive, I think that's a huge, huge factor. And it's a bit of a mind shift for a lot of people, especially when you're coming out of school. We don't learn a lot of business education in school. I mean, I think we did one project when I was back in school. I think they might have even taken that whole course out, as far as I have been understanding. So you can't expect to go and learn one thing, and then, which is your clinical work, and then be able to just like pick this other thing up that people like spend years and years and years and years learning how to do. Like that just seems unreasonable to me. And yes, you can go and learn and make mistakes. Like I made tons of mistakes learning, or you could actually like follow a plan that's actually been set out for you. And again, I just feel like, why not help people create that plan and minimize those mistakes that they could possibly be making?
One of the things I love too about, and I'm assuming, following you online, is you're really building wealth, right? Can you hear my dog squeaking?
A little bit, yeah.
It's like building wealth, but doing it through real estate. I feel like you're almost like the Grant Cardone of chiropractic a little bit. But so what was the pull to, like, first of all, was your first goal to buy your building, and then you were like, okay, well now I'm going to get into the rental space market, and like, what was that whole process for you?
So my dad was a builder, a carpenter. And so we had built houses and moved and sold them and earned money and all of that. And my grandma was real estate. And so real estate was kind of in my blood. I loved it. And first, I actually ended up buying my house. But I was still so new that I did get support from my parents to help buy that. I had to pay it back, but I did get support because I wouldn't be approved for a loan at that point. So I was able to start with that. And as my practice got busier and I had my certain number of years of tax returns, I was then able to get the next thing. So I was able to buy another residential house that I rented because that was going to cash flow faster than anything else, because commercial real estate was that much harder to get. You had to have a bigger down payment. Everything was bigger. So I did those first, and then I had to wait out my lease a little bit commercially. Even though I was ready to buy the building, I had to wait it out. It would be either just too expensive and didn't make financial sense for me to leave earlier. So we ended up buying the vacation rental first, and again, got that cash flowing. And then from there, we were able to buy the commercial building. It was always my top goal to own my building. I liked the security of that. I liked the financial benefits of that. I like the control. And I know sometimes people don't like that word control, but that control that I could control my own destiny. So it kind of was, that was actually one of the later steps, but it was on these other ways of just opportunities arose. And sometimes when those opportunities present themselves, you want to take them, even if it's not in your plan. You're still going to get to the plan that you want to get to, but you need to take those steps when they arise, if it's the right move for you, kind of thing.
How uncomfortable did that make you? Like when
to share that?
Well, no, to like go and make each one of those purchases. Like it's not a small
Oh
purchase,
yeah.
right? It must
Yeah.
have been, was it like, it's no big deal? Or was it like, no, this is super uncomfortable, but I'm doing it anyways?
Oh yeah, it was super uncomfortable. If I look back and say what would I tell myself back then, it would be like to not stress so much about it. Like I
Mm.
had spreadsheet upon spreadsheet upon spreadsheet of how numbers would fit and what if this happened and what if that happened. That people would send them to like a financial person or whatever, and they're like,
Yeah.
we've never seen this detailed of a spreadsheet
Oh,
before for
wow.
anything. Because I just wanted to have all the different scenarios, because the way I could feel most comfortable is that if something happened, do I have a plan? If this happens, do I have a plan? And how would I like not get too attached to the outcome, but be okay with these different plans? And you can't plan for everything, but it did make me feel more comfortable, especially at the beginning, to be able to kind of just feel that less anxiety comes with certainty. So if I have more certainty that if something happens, I can handle it, I'm less anxious and worried. But it was super scary. There's no question about it.
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, this is part of what, the genius you bring to helping other doctors. And especially, I think anyone who's going to be working with you in the future is going to be incredibly fortunate, especially to get, as you get busier, you'll probably have less time to work with people. Right. So I'm going to just drop your URL. So you can actually reach Dr. Michelle at drmichellemba.com. You can also follow her on Instagram at symbol, right? Dr. Michelle MBA. So fantastic. I mean, I'm going to throw you into the TCP time machine. Are you ready for the cheesy TCP time machine?
Love it.
Okay, let's do it.
I'm in.
This is so cheesy. I love it. Okay, so we're putting you in the TCP time machine. We're going to send you back to a younger version of yourself. This is right after you came out of CMCC. Now, you have all the life experience, knowledge, everything that you have today. What would you say to that younger self?
Buy more real estate. But no, in all seriousness, I would just try to have a little bit more fun. Like it's awesome to be focused and it's awesome to be driven, but just maybe have a little bit more fun, enjoy the ride a little bit. Someone told me life's a marathon, not a sprint. I don't have to do it all in 5 years. I can, enjoy the process a bit more because like we had just talked about, like it was pretty anxious and it was pretty stressful at times. And just, do what you're doing, like enjoy the process. You're going to be in a good spot.
Love
later.
it. Okay, I'm going to throw a new question at you. I've never asked this question before. Don't be scared though. It's an easy one, but most of us have defined our values, what our highest core values are. And this is an exercise I did with my coach just recently. And it seems to change too, which is interesting based on where you are in your life. What's one of your highest core values?
I would say 2 that come to mind. And again, I've done this, like you said, and it's changed. Growth, personally and professionally, and security, like feeling secure in my relationships, in my business, in my financial, position, just having that security, because when security comes opportunities that you couldn't do if you didn't feel secure.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love it. But mine is that's one of like number 3 for me. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that we love too is to give a resource. Could be an app, could be a book you're reading, could be a person you're following. Like what resource would you say all doctors should go seek out right now?
So I'll put a little caveat to this, is that I think whoever this person is that you're going to follow or resource, it has to resonate with you, and it has to be who you want to be or what you want to have, or, the life you want to have. That's the type of person you should be following. For me, like I really have always enjoyed Tony Robbins and Rachel Hollis and Ramsey work and stuff like that. But it changes. It changes so much as to what stage of life you're in and what your goals are. So I got that advice from a mentor at some point, where whatever you want to do, find someone who's doing it and then just do what they do.
Yeah.
Like, as long as that resonates with you, of course. But
yeah.
Because seeing someone do that has such a powerful effect on our mind and what we can achieve.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And I always limit, my general rule of thumb is like I follow 1 or 2 people maximum at a time. Because I can't absorb, I can't really dive into the real essence of what they're teaching, their wisdom, unless I'm just all in with one person. Yeah. I love it. So listeners, you can actually head to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com, and we're going to have a webpage dedicated to our discussion with Dr. Michelle. We'll have all the resources as well and links, and you can connect with her from the website. Also, if you are on your mobile right now, go ahead and open up your show notes. You'll find the links and you can connect, jump onto Instagram and follow Dr. Michelle right now. Doc, I want to thank you so much for being on TCB Podcast. This was a brilliant episode. I love talking about real estate. I'm so fascinated about real estate too. So I'd love to have you maybe come back on the show sometime, and maybe we could just talk about how you go through the process of, I don't even know what the process would be of buying, renovating, and creating a vacation rental for someone. That might be really interesting.
Oh, that'd be really fun. We're actually in the process of renovating the last stage of our home. We bought it back in 2019, and it's been a 3-year process of renovating. And I think we're like 2 weeks away from actually being fully done.
Wow.
So that would be a fun process to talk about. There's many ups and downs, and many times you want to pull your hair out. And it's all great in the end when you can sit there and have a glass of wine or whatever it is you like to enjoy and just take it all in.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for giving back today.
Thank you. I appreciated it.
So you've heard the struggles, you've heard the successes, and this episode is done. But there's still so much more to come and so much more to learn. Head on over to thechiropracticphilanthropist.com and sign up for our newsletter, where you'll receive free practice building tips and strategies, including how to market your practice with your very own podcast and so much more. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Chiropractic Philanthropist.